Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm moving a little slower today because I sprained my Achilles, so it's and then I re-sprained it. So, but I can read poetry. It's not stopping me from doing that. So, I'm going to start with a poem that was about one of my earliest memories, and as we all know, Willie Mays passed away this week. And so this poem is based on my father taking me to my first baseball game. And I couldn't have been much older than a toddler. And it happens to be the first poem in my book, The Armageddon of Funk. It's called My Father's Favorite Pastime. I'm going to try to read 4 poems in 10 minutes. On edge of the darkest ghetto stood Candlestick Park, lit bright as an A-bomb's flash. With tiny hands, I turned the bazooka-scented baseball card of Willie Mays. Rows of shattering batting stats dispersed into smoke, while Willie stuck like skin, unforgettably black like my mother, whose schoolmates called Shinola. Black like her son, who Abyssinians would one day adopt as red-black. In the shadow of America's spectacles, still nothing mattered but blackness. Against the night's cruel chill, we huddled against a hawk, sipping Ghirardelli chocolate in search of baseball's hearth. Fat with peanuts and Cracker Jacks, a white man sold us something silver, shiny, wallet-shaped. Wrapping it in a velvet pouch, deep blue and fit for royalty, my father handed me the mystery, warmer than a Sunday oven, bringing mad joy to my hands. I kept that warmer for centuries in an unlocked chaotic drawer, packed with memories, junk, imagination, the blaze in its metal guts stealing even Willie's thunder. The thing that the guy handed me was like a metal container like 3 times the size of a cigarette lighter, and it had a wick inside of it, and you would light it and then close it back up. Some people probably don't know what the hell that is. And you put it in this coat of velvet and keep your hands warm. This next piece is, this next poem was written in response to a mural. Wait, is that what I want to read next? No, I want to read this, I'm going to read a poem called Her Words. And I'm reading this because we're in a bookstore today, and what started me writing poetry was stealing a book, and it was a book called 3,000 Years of Black Poetry. And in that book, I met Gwendolyn Brooks, the first Pulitzer Prize-winning African-American poet, who I became good friends with later in life. And I met Mary Baraka in that book. I met San Francisco Bob Kaufman in that book. I met Nikki Giovanni, and I had the good fortune of meeting all those people personally eventually when I grew up, except Bob. I never met him. So this is called Her Word, and it's dedicated to Gwendolyn Brooks. An archaeologist, not a lexicologist, figured it out. The word was a woman, mingling among the aromas of Ethiopia, brandishing a painter's brush in a dig territorially defined by string. The archaeologist swept away ancient crust and sediment, finding language alive and agitated instead of the fossilized femur of a long-dead Ramapithecus. Words wrapped in rhythm, pleasure, knowledge, and pain. Words as sharply defined as an Ashanti sculpture. Words of an African dynasty made of peoples not restricted to kings. Words that survived the Atlantic. Words that survived Atlanta. Words that survived migration, segregation, integration, and false resolution. Words worn as bracelets, amulets, and weapons. Words that were up long before they were down. Word up Words that give more than she has taken. Children's lives reweaved first to her poems and then to their own words that could weave a world. Thank you. And this poem was written in response to a mural that's not far from here in Clarion Alley. It was based on a mural called The Will to Live, which is also sometimes called the Palestinian Liberation Mural. And it was the Clarion Alley Mural Project that put that together. And they printed the poem on a large broadside, which is I couldn't bring with me today, so I'm going to read this off of my phone. It's called This Is More Than a Wall. Dreams escape our mouth at the velocity of hornets fleeing fire. Beneath the surface of our calloused and cultivated skin, we repel apartheid tagging, whitewashed aerosol sprayed in praise of uniformed knees on our neck in the streets, olive groves, buffer zones, chains of cells, labyrinth of garroting laws, or barrel of an Uzi in the ceaseless invasion of every crease of life. All of this that you excrete will be washed away with the American gifted weaponry by the unrelenting rain of resistance and the threat of eventual peace. You may momentarily obscure the obvious by spraying over bravery with treachery, hiding truth with thickets of lies. Still, even your stomach turns silently, knowing that oppression nourishes its own demise through the gut-wrenching loss of all innocence, the strangling of simple movement, the daily dismantling of hope, dictating the most basic things that humans cannot do. And this last piece I'm going to read. This last poem was written in 2015, but I find it still relevant today, particularly with the elections coming up. And it's called I Like My Neo-Fascists Naked. And I like my neo-fascists naked, written in pre-Trumpian times. I want the robes of our justices open, unfettered by cloaking fig leaves, naked in their nakedness, rows of corporate fed access flaunted, abandoning rituals of false denial, their rulings free of faux equivalency, statistical dishonesty, and classless level playing fields. I want my NTV, my inward offending overtly, niggerized in righteous hatred, spoken in non-hyper justified gibberish, decoded in unrestrained, embedded, applauded, marketed ignorance, managed to transparent, instructed malevolence for those non-fluent in the ways of this nefarious, nigger-distracted world to see. I want our backwardness blatant and walking forward, scarred knuckles scraping our glorious amber plains, flagellating our virus-infected brains on the prairies of flat eartherism, climate hucksterism, denying the science of the sun. I want the logic of legislative inquisitions, those democratic night fights held increasingly in the dead of night that injure my nieces, my sister, my mother, my wife, the sadistic incursions into their wombs, the state-dictated procedures in the sacrilegious name of submission. I want to see them disintegrated in sunlight. I want homeland spine, under pretense patriotism, the criminalizing of conversation, of everyday people every data second of the data-driven day, the jacking of simple assumed liberties under cover of the stultifying fog of fear and supremacy, practiced lewdly in the public square. I want the legalization of lawlessness, the deputizing of modern lynching promoted in photo ops, encircled by emotionless faces of neighbors conditioned for murder sanctioned by their God. It has been done before. I want the end of these days. Thank you.